President Biden visited Monterey Park, California, the location of a recent mass shooting where 11 people were killed. And at this event where he spoke to the people of Monterey Park, he also rolled out more actions his administration is going to be taking on gun control and an executive order, to be specific, to address gun violence.
Texas, I signed into law after being both places a bipartisan Safer Communities Act, most significant gun safety law in almost 30 years. That was in addition to me signing more executive actions to reduce gun violence than any of my predecessors at this point in the presidencies. Today, I'm announcing another executive order that will accelerate and intensify this work to save more lives more quickly. First, this executive order helps keep firearms out of dangerous hands, as I continue to call on Congress to require background checks for all firearm sales. And in the meantime, my executive order directs my Attorney General to take every lawful action possible to move us as close as we can to universal background checks without new legislation. It's just common sense.
Indeed, it is. And I want to bring this up one more time. I said that as if it'll be my last time. It won't be my last time. I'm going to bring it up again and then many times in the future. If Republicans are being honest, if Republicans are being genuine about wanting to protect the kids, and they talk so much about how drag queens pose this massive threat to kids, but don't provide any evidence of that being the case, and call the left groomers constantly, and they say that we are going after the kids and they're the ones who want to protect the kids. How about we address what is the leading cause of death for kids in America, and that's gun violence? How about we address that? And you say, yeah, sure, we can address it, but it's about mental health. It's about locked doors at schools. And also, it's about the weapon being used. And also, it's about that killing tool that needs to be focused on. And we absolutely know, all the evidence supports the understanding that the way we can decrease a lot of these deaths, specifically when talking about children, leading cause of death for children, is by more reasonably and responsibly regulating guns, making sure that an individual who, yes, has the mental health problems that need to be addressed, yes, has these horrible ambitions, and all of that, make sure they're less likely to get their hands on a weapon that's designed to kill as many people as possible. And to me, I don't understand why that's controversial, and it definitely shows a lot of the disingenuousness coming from many within the right. And then another moment here from this speech.
Investigation. There's more in this executive order, but I'm not stopping there. Last week, I laid out in my budget that we invest more in safer communities and expand access to mental health services for those affected by gun violence. Congressional Republicans should pass my budget instead of calling for cuts in these services or defunding the police or abolishing the FBI, as we hear from our MAGA Republican friends. But let's be clear. None of this absolves Congress the responsibility from the responsibility of acting to pass universal background checks, eliminate gun manufacturers' immunity from liability. And I'm determined, once again, to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
And as he's outlining there, while it's good that his administration is taking steps that are good in regard to gun violence, at the end of the day, the impact we need to see, if we're going to get the change that we need to see, it has to come from Congress, because they're the only ones with the power to actually do something as expansive and impactful as what needs to be done. And so we'll quickly walk through a little bit about this executive order. But again, it must be stated within this conversation that congressional leaders, but specifically Republicans, need to get on board with more actions than this. Here from CBS, the executive order directs the Attorney General to increase background checks by cracking down on gun sellers who don't perform them when required, with the goal of moving us as close as we can to universal background checks without new legislation, as Mr. Biden put it. The order also directs federal agencies to improve public awareness and promote the use of red flag laws, and instructs the Attorney General to release more information about federally licensed firearms dealers who violate the law. The directive further instructs the Pentagon to develop and implement principles to further firearm and public safety practices through the Department of Defense's acquisition of firearms. And it notes here that, as we saw in that clip, he continues to call for the ban of assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, which would both be the correct steps to take. He acts confident that he would be able to get that done, as long as there are many within our current political system who actively stand against those common sense actions. Even with a president who has the correct stance, it's not going to happen, and that is what is so enraging, and hopefully that will change. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get the full bonus show every single Saturday, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Link in the description.